don't want to offend somebody or be rude. And on this occasion, I don't know how it was received. The person is normally jokey when you're face to face, but maybe that's not the case on like an email exchange.
That's the element of email. They are open to interpretation, and even the response, you've got no idea which way it's meant. It's hard to get tone across in an email. Like the same way as you could have misinterpreted what they've put, they may have misinterpreted what you've put.
The guy is clearly exceptionally clever. There's no qualms about that. But his scruples and personality are shockingly bad. Is he somebody that I would take advice off in terms of business? Absolutely not. And certainly not somebody that I'd want to spend my time around or take any business advice from.
Hard work beats skill when skill doesn't work hard. If you get everybody working together because they have the same values and beliefs, it's incredible how powerful that is.
Hi there, and welcome to the Leaky Bucket Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Morgan, and this is the Financial Performance Podcast for entrepreneurs looking to get a better understanding of their numbers, to plug the leaks in their business, and to move from surviving to thriving.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Leaky Bucket Podcast. Yet again, with us today, I've got Sam. Sam, thank you very much for joining me. Right, Sam, so first of all, we're going to talk about the leak of the week. And I think you've got a little bit here of a bit of an email exchange I think you had where actually it's just clear to show how emails can be misinterpreted.
Yeah, so even now I'm not entirely sure quite which way this email was meant. So effectively what happened is a set of accounts sent out to a client, and we let them know that there had been some adjustments made on the previous year and they had been filed as well. And the client came back and sort of said, thanks for the information. Can I just confirm why were last year's redone and refiled? So I spoke to the team member that had actually done it, and they informed me that the information had been sent to said client in two formats. One, in an email, and secondly, as part of a video that had gone out to the client to inform them that this was going to work out better for them tax-wise. So this client in particular is normally reasonably jokey face-to-face, so I sent an email back to just let them know that actually they must have been really busy lately and must have missed the communication that we sent out with the information in it. And then I think I put something on the end of it that was sort of along the lines of sad. It was a sad face emoji that went after, and I put something with it that was sort of meant to make it light-hearted sort of thing, but I suppose at the same time with an undertone of the information had been sent there sort of thing. And then if they had any further questions, please let us know, etc. And I got an email back to say very professional with a couple of exclamation marks after, and it prompted me and Ian to have a discussion on it and kind of go, actually, emails can be misinterpreted. I don't know which way the email was meant, whether it was meant very professional in a sarcastic tone as such, because it had emojis and it had a little bit of a jokey element to it, or whether there was an intent of being, oh, that's very professional, you've sent me the information. However, it did get us discussing it and kind of going, how do you deal with situations where you've repeatedly sent out information to somebody and they're still coming back with the same bits? And not just on this level, but we have it in other areas sometimes where we've sent information to a client, maybe had a discussion with them, you've sent them an email after on bits, but actually at another point, they then later question something that you've already spent time dealing with them with. How do you deal with those situations to ensure that you're not rehashing over your time? And it just got us thinking, this probably happens in every business where you feel you're doubling or trebling your time on the same situation over and over again. Ian, how do you deal with bits when they come across you?
I think I'm less open to my emails being misinterpreted because I'm quite short and blunt and straight to the point. So I probably don't have many occasions where I go, do I think people have misinterpreted what I put? But I think I was also with you to go, I think twofold, right? One, I was like, don't get hung up on it, yeah, because that's not my character. But at the same point, that is your character. So I was trying to understand where you were sort of coming from. And to go, actually, you're not going to know. Like, that's the element of email, yeah? They are open to interpretation. And even the response, you've got no idea which way it's meant.
Yeah, I think the element for you is, in general, you're not fussed. If somebody wants to take offence to something you said, then you're like, well, that's what the situation was, and that's how they've taken it, and that's that. whereas I'm more careful in what I say. I wouldn't want to offend somebody. I'd like to make my point clear that the information was provided, but I don't want to offend somebody or be rude. And on this occasion, I don't know how it was received. The person is normally jokey when you're face to face, but maybe that's not the case on like an email exchange.
Yeah, I think it's hard to judge. And like we said at the time, actually, do you want to find out, and is it worth the effort? Because if there was a big issue, would they reach out and tell you anyway? Or do you want to pick up the phone, basically? Because you weren't going to resolve it via email, yeah, because it was just going to end up with potential for more misinterpretation. There wasn't an easy way to respond to that email to go, are you joking, sort of thing? Or, it needed context. It needed language. No, language, not right. What would you call it? What's explanation? Like tone, yeah? And it's hard to put tone in an email.
Yeah, exactly. But it did spark that debate between us to kind of go, actually, if you've got something that you've already provided the information for, sometimes even on multiple occasions, you feel like you're wasting your time. And all business owners will have this, that sometimes you feel like you're wasting your time because you've already been through this multiple times. How do you deal with those situations to ensure you're not feeling like you're wasting your time? Or do we just have to sort of get to grips with the fact as business owners that there will be occasions like that where you have to be repetitive on things?
Okay, so I think you can minimize them, but I don't think you can remove them. And the way I think you minimize them is by knowing who your ideal client avatar is and who your team are, and who should be doing the communicating. We've obviously organized our business in the way that the main communicators in our business are the people who find communication much more natural and easy, and they're clearer, I suppose, in that respect. They're less technical, but sometimes communication has to go out from a technical team. And I'd say on the whole, we've done a pretty good job of making sure that we're working with clients that work the way we want to work. Certainly from us working with small one-man bands probably doesn't work so well, because most one-man bands, rightly for them, they want to get to the organ grinder. They want to get to the person who owns the business and runs it. But in our business, that isn't, and I know that's us, that we're not necessarily the ones who know everything that's going on and all that detail. We have an overview, but we don't know all that detail. And you're highly unlikely, therefore, to want us realistically doing your work or communicating with you. So I think making sure you're engaging with those right fit clients, I think, eases that communication channel. Because actually, when we're dealing with clients who are at a similar level to us and they also delegate stuff accordingly, there's an understanding that's already there. But I still think you will get situations like this where you don't know. And he, like the same way as you could have misinterpreted what they've put, they may have misinterpreted what you've put. Yeah, and I just think there's going to be occasions like that. It's hard to get tone across in an email. I only know, for all the time I've been doing it, I only can think of 2 people that I've ever seen who managed to get tone across in an email. We've had a lot of clients.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And obviously we discussed it around the time because I didn't like the fact that maybe I could have offended somebody in how I'd put it. But at the same time, we don't like to run the company and be all sort of suited and booted as such. We do like to have a relationship and an understanding with our clients. So we don't want it to be sort of really strict for, just sort of a bit boring in terms of our responses and things. We want to have some character within them. And I think that can be a hard balance sometimes on there. So yeah, but it definitely sparked an interesting sort of conversation between us all to go, how do you deal with these situations? What do you do to ensure that you still have some character in there, but actually you get your point across without offending as well? And I think that is across the board in all businesses that you'll have bits like that. So moving on, the epic win of the week. I believe you've been reorganizing your diary in.
Yeah, so I've been conscious for a period of time that a few things have flagged up to go, where's all the things like how much time are you spending doing £1,000 tasks, rather than £100 or £10 tasks. Another session I did about, if you show this person their diary, they'll tell you how much you work on the business versus in it. And it was basically based on how short are your appointments. Yeah. If you've got loads of 15-minute appointments, you're definitely working in your business. If you've got loads of 3 or 4 hour appointments, you're highly likely to be working on it. And but I've not find something that's overly actionable. And then I come across some elements from a guy called Dan Sullivan, and his was like, actually, if you want certain days to be structured in certain ways, you have to do it in advance, right? What you can't do is go, well, I'm going to have a free day every Friday and do what I want to do, but not really plan it in and just hope that it happens, because it won't happen. You'll find something else to do. Yeah. So you have to plan in that you want that to be your free day. So what I've done with my diary is effectively sectioned up days into particular types of days. The way in which we're structuring things going forward, my delivery days don't need to be, I don't do much working in the business. Yeah. So I have 2 delivery days and they happen on 2 days a week. I have a day for team collaboration, doing one-to-ones, catching up with various team members, doing training, doing sort of guidance and that sort of stuff. Then I have a day that is effectively like a floating day, but it's like a development day, basically. It's for learning. But I can use it times where I might spend time with you and go and do things, because you just don't know what's going to spark ideas. But the idea being that actually we may decide and go, oh, we're going to spend some time in a coffee shop. But there's almost a bit of an agreement to go, hang on, but if there's one of the occasions where I spark an idea, I need some time to be able to play with that idea, write it down, that sort of thing. And then actually have the structured 3 days on the Friday. And for me, a couple of weeks into working on it now, and I feel like it's working well. I'm starting to see a change in my diary. I'm starting to see a change in my energy levels, my focus levels. I very much know what my days are about. There's a little chopping and changing as I'm trying to fit things in and work things out, but I mainly know where I'm going. You've sort of done this in your own way, I think, over the last few years, in a way, without sort of that structure and guidance. How do your days sort of stack up, in, I suppose, in that respect?
So I think I was forced into this. So effectively, we'd had some issues with one of our children, hadn't we, schooling wise, etc. And I just found that actually my diary needed to be more open. I needed to have more availability that meant I wasn't quite so specific about what was done exactly when, because I used to like my diary to be very specific, but I needed it freed up a bit. So I have 3 days a week that are working days, but they're not always the same days every week. I do try and structure them to keep the same, but I'm aware in my head to go, if something crops up, as long as I don't have meetings in place, which I try and keep to specific times anyway, but as long as I don't have meetings come up, then actually it's okay to not work that day and deal with my other bits and replace that with a different day in the week. Whereas I think previously that was stressful for me because I had a full list of things I wanted to get done. So I always keep 2 days, 3 days are for working, and then I have 2 days every week, which are my days that I can switch around. So it would be very rare that I would make plans with anybody. If I was going to meet a friend or something on one of my 3 days, it's rare that I would make that plan the week before, because I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing in terms of my working, because it went through a period of time of scheduling around school issues. That has eased, but actually I found it really works for me to not have that strictness of going, those are the exact days that I have to do, sort of thing. Actually, as long as I get 3 days done, it doesn't matter. It's for me, it's no different to the team being on flexi and bits. It's flexible with the hours. I know what I need to get sorted. As long as everything's marked off and I've done everything that week, then
yeah,
it's fine.
And I think this was my struggle. Right? I'd seen how well it had worked for you, and I thought, oh, that can work for me. The problem is my diary is very client-led. Yeah, so when you go, oh, actually, I'll keep 4 days in my case available for working. Actually, what you can guarantee is that a client will book in on each day. So then you go, oh, okay, well, only meant to have 3 days, but actually I've got 4 anyway. And then you go, well, if I'm doing that apart and that's for a 2-hour meeting, I might as well do the other bits that day. And so it didn't work as well for me when it was client-led, if you like, in that respect. So that's why I've gone to the 2 days are open to clients for work, what I would consider like working in the business.
We do very different work for a start within the business, don't we? And then secondly to that, the way that you work is different. You require processing time a lot when you're going through things, whereas I can jump in and out of things. So, for example, if we're at home, working from home, and the doorbell goes or the washing machine finishes, I could go and swap that over and literally carry on where I left off, whereas you would need sort of 15 minutes to get back into what you were doing and go, right, where was I? What's happening with bits? And I think that probably comes down to the type of work we're doing that's different. So yeah, mine works quite easily to jump in and out of different tasks.
Yeah. So I want to Move on, right? Pick of the week. Now, things have become a little bit more evident and why this is a reality, because you don't do a great deal of reading. You do reading, I think, off recommendations that I've got. You do some listening based off recommendations and things that I've had. But you just not something you enjoy so much. Yeah, you go and do it, but you're very specific about what you'll give your time up to in terms of reading and listening. Yeah, but you've actually gone and done some.
Quite a lot of books per year and things. It's just not as many as you.
No, maybe I'm a bit obsessed. But anyway, right. What's your pick of the week? So that's the point.
Yeah. So I do actually read a number of books. It's just that I am quite specific on them. And actually, if I get sort of 20 minutes into a book and it's not captured me yet, probably not going to continue with it unless somebody has told me business-wise that it is really good. Just keep going with it and I will persevere then. But yeah, on the whole, I'm very specific with my books. I like to gain stuff out of them. And I find that some books, if they haven't captured me, then I'm just not going to gain out of it because I don't actively pay attention. I might be reading it, but I'm not really retaining it because it just hasn't captured me. So this book was recommended to me. Ian had wanted to read it himself and it had been on his list for a while, but hadn't got round to it because he'd had other ones that he'd considered more important. I thought, you know what? We were away for a few days and I thought this one might actually capture me. So it was The Wolf of Wall Street and by Jordan Belfort. And we've watched the film and I thought I'll read the book. In fact, actually, I got it on audio and then realized it was 20 odd hours. I was like, wow, that's quite a long book.
The tip is you got to listen on 1.2 speed. That's what you got to do. Right.
Yeah, I figured that after 9 hours in on that one. But in fairness, he speaks the accent of the person recording it, which I'm not sure if it is actually him on there, but the accent of the person isn't the best one for me. So even when I've sped it up, I have to sometimes go back a little so that I can re-listen to something. So we debated this one because Ian said he wanted to bring this one up on here and we don't really go through bits beforehand, but when he mentioned it, I was like, I'm not really sure how business related it is. So the guy is clearly exceptionally clever. There's no qualms about that. And the book is reasonably interesting to listen to. I mean, I've gone over 10 hours worth of it, so it must be fairly good.
That's a 20-minute test then, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, I gave it longer than that because you were insistent that it was really good. But his scruples and personality are shockingly bad. Is he somebody that I would take advice off in terms of business? Absolutely not. Is he somebody that I'd want to be in a relationship with? Absolutely not. He clearly is exceptionally good at what he does. But up until now, within the book, everything he does is either illegal or it's just ethically not correct. And they're just not routes that I would ever go down. And even if they were on a plate offered, and certainly not somebody that I'd want to spend my time around or take any business advice from. Now, that's not to say that there's not elements within there that you can learn stuff from. It's not a book that I would be promoting to somebody who wants to do well in business.
Unless you can learn from others' mistakes and how not to do things, maybe. Because there's no doubt about this, right? I think I don't know what happened once he'd gone to prison for embezzlement or whatever.
I haven't got to that yet.
And whether he lost everything, but he certainly made a lot of money. Well, no, he spent.
That's because he screws people over all the time. I just maybe I'm missing some bits in it. I don't know from the bits that I've taken on, but so far where I've got to, he screws people over. Yes, he makes an obscene amount of money. He also spends an obscene amount of money.
Nets back to zero, probably.
No, he earns plenty enough that it doesn't net back to zero. However, for me, life isn't about money. Yes, money does make life easier, but I would not want to have that lifestyle and I would not want to be associated with it. And even more so, I wouldn't want my children associated around it. Yeah, I don't believe the life that's within that book isn't an acceptable life to live.
Maybe we'll just leave it there.
Probably not what you wanted to hear from that book, Ian, because I think you were really rooting for that one.
I've got no idea. It was just recommended to me. But anyway.
It might get better in the second half.
Let's move on, right? The buzz of the week. And I wanted to bring this to, strangely, right, not to business, to actually to sport. Wales and Ireland in the rugby both recorded significant unpredicted wins. And I think the key message from both of them were out of high levels of teamwork and organization, knowing the game plan and executing it really well. And I thought all of those things, they link back to business. Yeah. If you know your game plan, you all work together as a team, you know what everybody's working for and you work towards it together, anything's possible. Damn, you don't watch rugby, but I didn't want to just raise the point and leave it. But yeah, come on, what's an agreement? Yeah, you run and manage our company, right, day to day. If we do those things correctly, yeah, if we know where we're heading, we all work together as a team, we have a collective goal and we work hard at it, most of the time we're going to be successful and we're going to achieve something.
Yeah, I'd completely agree. And to be fair, it links partly to what we were discussing before in terms of the Wolf of Wall Street. But actually, the element you're talking about there is core values. Yeah, the way we structure our business, the way our team pull together, the values that we live to within the company that ensure our success going forward. There are scruples, what we live by. Yeah, and that's effectively why I have an issue with the book that I'm reading, because it doesn't align to core values, structure that. And I fundamentally believe that the successes you have in life, you should make sure you abide by what your set of core values are. And everybody's is different. But yes, within a team, I think in order to get the best out of people, you have to be aligned in terms of your core values. And they can be different for each team. But the team that's working together and will work the best together, in my opinion, will be a team that are aligned in what their core values are.
Maybe we'll just leave that there. No, short and sweet and to the point. Like, I don't think there's a great deal to say. Yeah, it's about teamwork and it's about, like you say, those underlying beliefs and values. And if you get everybody working together because they have the same values and beliefs, it's incredible how powerful that is. And actually, what's the saying that it's hard work beats skill when skill doesn't work hard? Yeah, but in order to have hard work, you've got to have those same underlying beliefs. Yeah, because you don't want to work hard for somebody who believes the complete opposite to you. You work hard for somebody because you share the same beliefs and the goals and the aspirations and everything else. And collectively, you come together and you become a stronger unit than just those on their own. And both the teams that they beat were teams that they shouldn't have on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But you achieve that through that culture and that teamwork and so on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Shall we move on?
Yep. So, peek behind the curtains. So, we mentioned short notice that we had booked a holiday and we were going away for 4 nights, just the two of us without the children. And we did do. So we've recently got back and it was absolutely amazing to just be away, decompress. We did have some issues that arose while we were away, but actually we were able to, I have a laugh over them. So we arrived at the airport and Ian had booked the car for the wrong day. So he had booked it for the following day to collect it. So a little bit stressful, first of all, in order to sort that. But actually, we just had a good laugh over it, because it was just funny in terms of the fact that actually we'd come away, we were really excited for it to just be us and just get to the hotel, have a look what it was like, because it was adults only and bits. And then actually we've got no car and how are we going to sort this? So yeah, instead of, having crosswords about it, we did just sort it and just found it funny, really. It was just part of the experience, so it's something that's never happened when we need to organise for all of us to go away, and yet when it's only 2 of us, apparently we can't organise it. So, but yeah, it was good to get away. We discussed loads of stuff to do work-wise and things. I mean, it's hard to stay away from having those conversations because MBS is us as well, it is part of our life. And actually, there's elements where if we didn't work within the same business, if we worked in different businesses, we'd talk about our work then. So I don't really consider it any different. And there were some rather large stuff that came up on holiday that we needed to discuss. Ian, did you want to share a little bit more?
No, actually, I'm going to leave it a little bit of a cliffhanger for next week.
Okay, cool.
So, but what I'm going to say is that the time and space and freedom that we had of mind during that break meant that we could tackle the key issue that will be coming up next week in episode 60. We were able to tackle that issue with a clean and fresh mind and thinking time that we wouldn't have been able to achieve, would have been harder to be able to achieve had we have been back here and working in the business and on the business at that time.
Oh, I think that means that I need to literally spend most of my life abroad then, so I can just lie on a sun lounger and think about decisions to make. I clearly work best like that.
Yeah, but I've told you that before, and then you pull out and go, no, we can't do it. We need to come back to the UK. I'd happily go live with
Well, yeah, because all our family are here.
you. So don't say that you can't live up. Anyway, some power move of the week. Do you want to tie things up? What do you think is the absolute power move from the last week?
For me, it's definitely going away. I didn't feel refreshed from the holiday we had in this country. It was lovely to be away, but I didn't feel that refreshment that you normally come back with, and that clarity, that clear of mind. I think it comes down to the fact that it's not a particularly relaxing holiday as such when you go abroad, because we do lie in the sun and relax and things, and everything's done for you. You have the time to run through stuff in your head. So all these different bits you've been thinking about, you can mull them over in your brain and decide which bits need more contemplating and conversations between me and you or other team members, and which bits are rubbish and you just need to ignore, sort of thing. It gives you that clarity and that time to run through stuff whilst feeling great because you're in the sun, and the sun, let's face it, makes most people feel better. It certainly does for me. Yourself?
Yeah, I can't disagree. I felt refreshed after the UK holiday, but it was just good to get away and have that clarity of mind. And yeah, I really just feel refreshed. And there's something about the sun and warmth.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just good. It's not the same as when we went to Iceland earlier in the year. It was a nice break, but it's quite action-packed. It doesn't feel overly refreshing. This was like, we did nothing.
But we did still manage to clock up like over 10 to 15,000 steps a day. I'm not really quite sure how I managed that. I was expecting to come back and for my like activity tracker to be like, what on earth have you been doing? You're lazy, you've done nothing. But actually, we clocked up a fair amount of steps. That was just going to the bar and back, clearly.
Yeah. Guys, on that note, it's been absolutely fantastic having everybody here. And what you need to do is you need to tune in next week, where you can find out that me messing up the car booking was the least of our worries as we landed. See you soon.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Leaky Bucket podcast. I'd love it if you could help spread the message by clicking subscribe and leaving a review. Also, please do reach out to me on LinkedIn and let me know your thoughts on this episode. You can also find more info and links in the show notes below. See you next time.